contract.
Contract. They want your just about they want your blood, right?
Yeah.
Get a mortgage. Get a mortgage to see what they're asking for.
Kids, covenant you have with married children.
Okay, you have a covenant with your children? Okay. What is the biggest covenant the greatest covenant that you think?
A marriage. A marriage.
Marriage?
Well,
On earth, yeah.
You say no?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's also a marriage, though. Right?
Marriage is the biggest one. When we look at, and I know we don't worship the cross, but when you look at the people that talk about the cross, they say that you have a God-man relationship and a man-man relationship, right? And the reason why I brought that up is because when you listen to Yahushua, he talks about loving your neighbor as yourself, right? And then he talks about loving him, right? And one of the, I believe, the largest and greatest covenant that was ever existed prior to Yahushua dying on the cross was when Moses came down off the mountain. Exodus chapter 30, or is it 24? So let's go there. Because this was the covenant between who? And Israel. This was not a covenant for everybody else. This was a covenant between him and his people. And you know why he chose those people, right?
Because they were great in number.
They were small and they were weak.
He picked the weakest and the smallest to confound the world. He didn't use a group of people that, like, you guys got it together, everybody went to seminary, you got your doctor's degrees, and you got your master's, and everybody is so smart. These are the people I want. No, he picked the people that were pretty much the lowest, and he said, I will exalt you. Keep going back to movies, but there's always somebody, the person that's really not even thought about, and then the hero comes alongside of him and rescues the damsel in distress. And you're like, why did he even think about her? Right? So here's Yah reaching down to a people that ordinarily nobody would think twice about. These people were slaves. Slaves in Egypt. And he said, you know what? You the people. So let's go to where we at?
Exodus 24.
Yes.
What chapter?
Exodus 1.
What Exodus?
It's hot in here. I got a fly bugging me. And a big sweater on. All right. Yeah, let's read.
Sorry to be interruptive. We have limited.
Closer.
We got little problems until we get another tripod.
Exodus 24, starting at verse 1.
For 2 hours.
Robin.
And he said unto Moshe, come into Yahweh, you and Aaron, Nabal, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Yisra'el, and worship ye afar off. And Moshe alone shall come near Yahuwah, but they shall not come nigh, neither shall the people go up with him. And Moshe came and told the people all the words of Yahweh and all the judgments. And all the people answered with one voice and said, all the words which Yahweh has said will we do. And Moshe wrote all the words of Yahweh, and rose up early in the morning, and built an altar unto the hill, and 12 pillars, according to the 12 tribes of Yisra'el. And he sent young men of the children of Yisra'el, which offered burnt offerings, and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto Yahweh. And Moshe took half of the blood, and put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the sefer of the covenant, and read in the audience of the people, and they said, all that Yahweh has said will we do, and be obedient. And Moshe took the blood, and sprinkled it on the people, and said, behold the blood of the covenant, which Yahweh has cut with you concerning all these words.
Okay, so this is the wedding. When there's a wedding, when you marry according to the scripture, the appropriate way, when you go into the bedroom, if she's a virgin, there's blood, because blood must be represented to demonstrate that it's a pure relationship. Now, a lot of us have gone through things so that by the time we get to getting married, this is not something that's familiar with us. But for the most part, we know what we're talking about, the blood relationship. So this covenant that Yah made with his people, you heard him say, I do. They said, I do. You know what you say in the wedding? Right? You hear the other person give out their little spiel, and you say, and the priest or the pastor or the morays in front of you is asks you, will you accept me as your lovely beloved husband to do, have, and hold for better and for worse? And what do you say? Okay, I remember what she said. She's reneging on that. So I would cut her off before she says something. Right? But we all say, I do. All the people said, I do. And what did they say afterwards?
We will be all that he
We will be what? We'll be obedient. Obedience, that's the bad word in our walk, right? No one wants to be obedient. To all the words that were read. So he listened to all the words, and then they said, we will do it, so help me Yah. Right? And they said, we'll be obedient to everything. And then what did he do? He sprinkled the blood on them. Without the shedding of blood, there's no remission of sins, you know that verse, right? Well, there had to be some blood shed, right? And this was symbolic of a wedding. So where are we at? Verse 5?
No,
All right. Oh, you got quiet this time before I interrupt you.
Then went up Moshe and Aaron, Nadav and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Yisra'el. And they saw the Elohai of Yisra'el, and there was under his feet, as it were, a paved work of a sapphire stone, and as it were, the body of heaven in his clearness. And upon the nobles of the children of Yisra'el he laid not his hand. Also they saw Elohim, and did eat and drink. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, come up to me into the mount, and be there, and I will give you sapphire stones, and a Torah, and commandments which I have written, that you may teach them.
Okay, so verse 11, they had a meal. Yah is always into eating and drinking. Right? He's into eating and drinking. That's why we eat and drink. On this Shabbat, just like every other Shabbat, we break open the Word and we dive into it. And then later on we come together and we eat and drink. And if anybody got a problem with it, just don't come. Because we will eat and drink. And yes, I'm talking about wine. Hallelujah.
Let it burn.
Huh? Throw the bricks, right? So they ate and they drank. The marriage supper of the Lord, of Yah, when it happens in Revelations, the last chapter in the book, we're talking about eating and drinking. Y'all all about eating and drinking. Eating and drinking properly. So you don't drink to get drunk.
Right.
And you don't eat unclean. Right? And you don't glut. Right? We don't over drink or overeat, and we don't eat that which is unclean. That's not appropriate. It never was appropriate for y'all's people. Well, let me start talking about unclean food. That's not what he says, talks about eating. What's that? Yeah, we're talking about adultery. Stay focused, stay focused. So these people are in love with y'all. When you live in poverty and you marry into somebody that has a little bit of money, right? You're grateful, first of all, that that person acknowledged you, but then you're grateful that you're moving on up, right? You packing up and moving on up to the east side, to the high-rise apartment in the sky, right? But you're excited because this spouse, this loved one, is actually going to exalt you, put you into a higher position in life. And you're not struggling every day, hoping that you're going to make it from paycheck to paycheck. Now we got bucks. You name it, you got it. So he pulled them out of Egypt, out of slavery, used miraculous works, signs, and wonders, right? And then he married her. It's all about adultery. So let's read. Because they said they're going to be, they're going to be obedient. So let's pick it up at
12.
12.
And Yahweh said unto Moshe, Come up to me into the mount, and be there. And I will give you sapphire stones, and a Torah, and commandments which I have written, that you may teach them. And Moshe rose up, and his minister Yahusha, and Moshe went up to the mount of Elohim. And he said unto the elders, Tarry ye here for us, until we come again unto you. And behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. And if any man have any matters to do, let him come unto them. And Moshe went up into the mount, and a cloud covered the mount. And the glory of Yahuwah abode upon Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it in 6 days. And the 7th day he called unto Moshe out of the midst of the cloud. And the sight of the glory of Yahuwah was like devouring fire on the top of the mount in the eyes of the children of Yisra'el. And Moshe went into the midst of the cloud and got him up into the mount. And Moshe was in the mount 40 days and 40 nights.
Okay, so let's go back to Exodus 23. Back it up. And verse, we're not going to read the whole thing. Verse 30. Yeah, let's start at 30. What's in this here before you? No, let's go back to 26. And then we'll read the rest of that chapter. Exodus 23, 26, 20.
23, 26.
Yes.
There shall nothing cast their young, nor be barren in your land. The number of your days I will fulfill. I will send my fear before you, and will destroy all the people to whom you shall come, and I will make all your enemies turn their backs unto you. and I will send hornets before you, which shall drive out the Chevy,
Yeah,
or,
the Hittites and the Canaanites.
yeah, the Hivites, the Canaanites and the Chettai from before you. I will not drive them out from before you in 1 year, lest the land become desolate, and the beasts of the field multiply against you. By little and little I will drive them out from before you until you be increased and inherit the land. And I will set your bounds from the Red Sea even unto the sea of Pelishim, and from the desert unto the river. For I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and you shall drive them out before you. You shall cut no covenant with them, nor with their Elohim. They shall not dwell in your land, lest they make you sin against me. For if you serve their Elohim, it will surely be a snare unto you.
What is the prenuptial agreement?
Thou shalt make no covenant with them.
You hear that?
With their gods.
This is a prenuptial. This is before the wedding.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, some people maybe we need to sit down and talk about what's going to happen here. So you don't think you're going to come and take all my money and run, right? But this is what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to drive out all of your enemies. A little by little, they're going to all disappear. Sort of like today, where we get a prenuptial, you're like, well, my credit is all jacked up. Okay, well, I'll start paying off your debts a little bit at a time, so you don't have that debt to worry about. I'll take care of it. And that sounds like a pretty good agreement, right? He's like, yeah, hallelujah. Like, for better or for richer or poorer, this is going to work out good for me, right? He says, I'm going to drive them out a little at a time so that the land is not destroyed, and then you'll have all the land for your inheritance. This is a good prenuptial. Why would they not follow the agreement? Why would they not? It doesn't make sense. If you stop and think about this, it doesn't make sense. But guess what? It happens every day. You have faithful such and such been with you forever, and some young person comes alongside that has really nothing much more to offer you but fresher curves. Mm-hmm. And you fall for the okie doke. Mm-hmm. And you're like, really? You're leaving the wife of your youth for this? And it happens all the time, over and over and over. And these people that said, we're going to do everything you say. Whatever, we will be submissive. You like that word? You'll be submissive. And yet, these people, he went up in the mountains 40 days and 40 nights. Right? When he came back off the mountain, now, he went in the mountain 40 days. That's not a long time. When he came off the mountain, what were they doing?
I mean, no.
What were they doing? They turned it up, turned it out. They were having orgies. They had the cow. Oh yeah, they were kicking it out. This thing went crazy. It was like Moses was so ticked off. He's like, I was just here. I saw you guys, and now all of a sudden I come off the mountain and you guys are carrying on like this. This is our lot. This is what we do. It happens over and over again. It happens so much that Yah said, I'm going to have to divorce you. He started this divorce thing, he started telling us that we're divorced. He was divorced. It's like, oh, wow, that's deep. Look at Jeremiah, 3rd chapter. Jeremiah 3. because you're going to see this adultery full all out, right? The way he sees adultery. See, I could have said, thou shalt not commit adultery, and start talking about the other woman. And that's important. And I can pull out verses that you should not commit adultery with another woman. And that's a problem in Zion. But there's a spiritual problem that's occurring rapidly. It's like the plague. We have learned better to commit adultery than to walk right. We prefer the other woman, or the other Yah, or the other El. We have turned our backs on him to a El that says, you don't have to keep my commandments. All right, let me make this live. The other woman doesn't ask you to be respectful to her. The other woman don't ask you to be home at a certain time. The other woman don't really care what you do. She's like the side chick. No, she get her little pay. She good. And because we don't want rules, regulations, and laws, we prefer the side chick. That's Christianity. The side chick. Yeah, I said it. That's the one that says you don't have to keep the Shabbat. You don't have to worry about what you eat. You don't have to worry about what you do. You can be gay and sing in the choir. And you can, let's not judge. You can do anything you want. Because we all under grace. That's the side chick. Yahushua says, if you really love me, I mean, we know it so much that when I can't say it without you not lip syncing it, right? You know, you keep my commandments. What commandments? The same ones that he's coming down off the mountain with. See, perfect love, right? When you really love him, you'll do for him. When I don't have to ask my wife to cook me dinner. But 99% of the times, I have a cooked meal. If it's a matter of knowing each other and doing for each other. If that car breaks down and she says the car's making a funny noise, I'm out there underneath the car trying to figure out if I can fix it. Because I'm the fix-it man. If there's a leak in the house, I fix it. I have my role. I do my role. I don't say, that's your problem. That's your bathroom. It's only in the day's walk that we walk around thinking that it's cool. I don't have responsibilities. Y'all never said, he's never said, just love me, or say, just accept my son, and you're okay. It ain't in the book. It's not in the book. Revelations says, this is the testimony of the saints. Those who love him and keep his commandments and love his son. It's a combination. It's mind-boggling to think that you can, just because I said this little prayer, I'm going into heaven. It's mind-boggling because the people have forsaken Yah. And you think it's cool. Music's good. The singing's good. It's cool. We hugging up on each other. We loving up on each other. And let's go downstairs and have some bacon and eggs. It's like, what is wrong with you? And I say you because I was there. When Yah opens your eyes, you should start, he changes your heart. The new covenant is not new, it's renewed. He's taken the old covenant and said, you know what? I keep showing you the rules. You keep breaking the rules, right? I've given you a renewed covenant where even if you break the rules, you're okay. If you break them, you keep coming back and asking for forgiveness. He didn't say walk in it. You don't just walk in this thing and just do whatever you want. Now you're backsliding. So let's go. I really wanted to go to Malachi. And next week we will. Because Malachi talks about your love for your spouse. Shows that let me back up. Do you realize that in the world, there's a divorce rate that's like way up there? I don't know what the number is. But I found recently that in Christendom, the divorce rate's higher. How is that? They're the ones that are supposed to be, saying I love Jesus, right? But their divorce rate is equal or higher than the people that don't know him at all. There's something wrong with that. Something seriously wrong with it. If you love Yah, if you love Yah, your sin rate should be way down yonder. I know the book says that all have sinned and come short of his glory. So none of us can say we never sinned. But we should be able to see less crime rate in here. We're not out here talking about let's go shoot down somebody. We're not out here screaming and yelling at the top of our lungs, telling people that they're going to hell. We're in here worshiping Yah and loving up on each other. Hallelujah. No shade to the ones that are doing it. Just thought I'd bring that out there. Let's go to Jeremiah, the 3rd chapter.
I wanted to go to Malachi.
So let's read through Jeremiah. What's Jeremiah's name? Yirmiyah? Yeah. Yirmiyahu. Yeah.
Verse 1.
Verse 1.
Chapter 3.
Yes. She's singing the Shema. Read. Who's got it?
James?
Hmm.
We'll read it in
You can read King James. That's
All
cool.
right, I'll read it. 2:1. verse 1.
Till you get to the end.
They say,
You can read this. You can read. We'll see how far we go.
okay, just tell me.
I have another 12 minutes.
All right.
So
All right. They say if a man put away his wife and she go from him and become another man's, shall he return into her again? Shall not that land be greatly polluted? But thou hast played the harlot with many lovers. I lost my spot. Oh, harlot with many lovers. Yet return again to me, saith the Lord.
okay, so I had this experience. I saw a couple that had been divorced, and years later they remarried. And I thought that was such a great thing until I started reading the book. Not supposed to happen. According to the Hebrew law, you don't remarry your wife. Once you put her away, you're done. You don't have the right to remarry her. That's according to the Hebrew law. You can say, well, we were married. No. You went as far as divorcing her, it's done. You don't have the right to remarry her. And there's text. You can find the text and look it up. So you put away your wife, and then you go to another man. What does the text say about that? Can you leave and get divorced and then remarry?
What was that?
Not for a woman.
Huh?
Can you restate that?
Yeah, can you, as a wife, leave your husband and then remarry someone else?
No, that's the situation.
So, what's the situation? Adultery. Adultery is the only one that's ever been mentioned to, you get a card, you get a pass. You come in the house and he's irritated every night because he's had a hard day work, and then you decide, enough of that after 6 months, I can't handle this, and you out. That's not right for divorce. But adultery, that's your free pass. Okay. Verse 2. See, this is going to be a long time before you get to the end.
Lift up thine eyes unto the high places and see where thou hast not been lean with. In the ways hast thou sat for them as Arabian in the wilderness, and thou hast polluted the land with thy whoredoms and with thy wickedness. Therefore the showers have been withholden, and there hath been no latter rain. And thou hast a whore's forehead. Thou reputest to be ashamed. Wilt thou not from this time cry unto me, my father, thou art the guide of my youth? Will he reserve his anger forever? And he keep in the end, and he keep it to
Your life as the second wife or the adulteress, and you just cool with it. Your sin can captivate you so much that you can't see the wrong in your walk. And now with what's happening in the world, you can do almost anything, and you feel okay because you can find somebody else that agrees with you and says, it's okay. I agree with you. You get two people that agree with you, and you sit at the bar and you cool. And you feel it's okay because she's doing the same thing. All right, let's read.
We're on verse 6.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord said also unto me in the days of Josiah the king, hast thou seen that which backsliding Israel have done? Backsliding Israel have done? She has gone up upon every high mountain and under every green tree, and there hath played the harlot. And I said, after she had done all these things, turn thou unto me. But she returned not. And her treacherous sister, Judah, saw it.
Okay, so Josiah, remember him? We talked about him last week, right? Right? The whole nation was wicked. And he was a young lad, 8 years old, right? As he became king, and we talked about how he brought the nation back. Yah is actually pleading. He's like, I know they're going to come back. All right, they went out. But they're going to come back. He says it right there. Now, you know the nation was split, right? So you had Judah, and then you had the Israelites, right? They're divided. And Yah's looking at this. Judah's looking at the Israelites and like, man, you guys are wicked. And they saw it. So let's see what happens with Judah. Verse 8.
And I saw, when for all that causes whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had put her away and given her a bill of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Judah feared not, but went and played the harlot also.
So now, this is, you remember Ichabod, right? So the spirit of Yah had departed from Israel. The Israelites had no God. They were worshiping false gods. And the spirit of Yah just departed. Now you would think that Judah sees this and says, let's turn back to Yah. They saw this and said, you know what? They're getting it on. Let's get it on with them. And they start playing whatever song, the guy's name, and they're like, let's get it on. Oh, it sounds mind-boggling, but we the same way. We the same way. We look around and even the people that have awakened, that should be walking right, are still falling into the trap. Walking, backsliding, going into someone's bedroom that they ought not go into. Because the spiritual and the physical is connected. That's why I wanted to go to Malachi. Because your physical went crazy because your spiritual was crazy. And your money was going everywhere but in the box, in the basket. That's why he said, will a man rob Yah? Yeah, you robbed me. You robbed me because you're giving second best to me. This is adultery. This is spiritual adultery. So we see this that Judah saw Israel, and they went by the way of the harlot. Come on.
And it came to pass through the lightness of her whoredom that she defiled the land and committed adultery with stones and with stocks.
Okay, stones and stocks, or stones and rocks. Right? Where have we heard that before? Stocks. Stocks is wood. Where have we heard that phrase, wood and stone? Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy what?
28.
Can someone find it? Deuteronomy 28.
They also stoned the prophet from last Sabbath when he came to deliver the word.
Exactly. They want to pick up the stone, and that was Jeremiah, right? Sooner or later, they're going to come after the one that speaks righteous, because they'd rather not hear that. They'd rather have somebody that tickles the ears, someone that sounds good. Did you got it?
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 36.
Verse 36, Deuteronomy 28.
Yahuwah shall bring thee and thy king which thou shalt set over thee unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and I shall serve other gods, wood and stone.
Wood and stone. You will serve other gods because you've turned your back. Man has this desire in them to worship. We will worship. We'll worship somebody, somewhere, somehow. They're worshiping Beyonce today, right? We'll worship somebody. If you turn your back on Yah, He will allow you to worship wood and stone. What's wood? The wooden cross. What's stone?
Cobblestone.
Yeah, that big square thing in the middle of.
And the Wailing Wall.
Oh yeah, there's another one, the Wailing Wall. Everybody got to walk to the wall. It's not even the Great Wall. The wall was torn down. Yahushua said every rock will be turned over. They rebuild the wall, and these crazy people will go there, and I was there too, so I was at the wall. Right? They will go to the wall, and they're bobbing their head to the wall like they bobbing for apples, right? Praying for what? Whatever. We will worship wood and stone. Prophecy will be fulfilled. Where are we at?
10.
Verse 10.
And yet, for all this, her treacherous sister Judah have not turned unto me with her whole heart, but vainly, did I say that right? Said to the Lord. And the Lord said unto me, the backsliding Israel have justified herself more than treacherous Judah. Go and proclaim these words towards the north, and say, return, thou backsliding Israel, saith the Lord, and I will not cause mine anger to fall upon you. For I am merciful, saith the Lord, and I will not keep anger forever. Only acknowledge thine iniquity, that thou hast transgressed against the Lord thy God, and have scattered thy ways to the strangers under every green tree, and yet not obey my voice, saith the Lord. Turn, O backsliding children, saith the Lord, for I am married unto you, and I will take you, one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion.
So Yah is begging. He's pleading. Come on, let's get it right. If you Google Hebrew Israelites, you're going to see people in the street screaming and yelling. And unfortunately, the wizard went before the prophet. And so they're out there. But if you look harder and you keep digging, you're going to find truth. You're going to find us. And our mission is not to yell and scream. Yeah, we cry it out and we spare not. But our mission is not to ridicule, abuse, or to talk down of people as much as it is to draw people back to Yah. That's our job. That's our mission. Walk right, talk right, and pray to Yah, and hopefully you will see the works of Yah in our hands and want to be a part of it. Our mission is not to disrupt and to cause a disruption or this distraction. Our mission is to tell people about who Yah is, who His Son is, and plead with His nation. Because His nation must come back first. Because judgment is going to begin where? In the house of Yah. When the judgment comes, we see judgment coming, and we sometimes sit back and say, ooh, that's judgment of God. We see the drug overdose that's going around the nation. I believe that to be the judgment of Yah. We see the tornadoes. We see the fires. We see the earthquake. We see the lands cracking in half. We see the volcanoes. We see all that, right? That is obvious. Even the heathen can see that. But what we're missing is the other judgment of Yah. The judgment of allowing us to have wicked men rule over us. It's wicked when you have people pastoring a congregation and telling them, don't keep the law, statutes, and commandments. You good. When sudden destruction is coming to your soul. It's wicked when you don't tell people about the dietary law. It's wicked when you tell them it's okay to have this false image up on the wall. When he says that you shouldn't even have any engraven image. It's wicked when you take the law and rip it up, the Torah, and say we don't need this. Open up, start reading in the book of John, and start reading through the New Testament, and you have no knowledge of the Old Testament. That's wicked. The judgment of Yah is when you are comfortable in that setting and you feel okay because you got other people that are whoring right alongside of you and they feel okay. It's wicked when you call a Hebrew Israelite a cult. Yeah, I said it. It's wicked. But we see wickedness and consider it to be okay. Like in the book of Judges, and it said, man went about doing whatever was right in their own eyesight. So you find somebody that grooves like you groove. So you good. You got a church full of gay people. And you find there's no problem with that. As long as they're not doing it to me. You got cross-dressers in the front row changing from, I won't call her name, but Cheryl to Sam. And you have no problem with it. Because after all, she loved Jesus. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe your love for that JC has you twisted. Because Yahushua would never accept it. As a matter of fact, if he was on this planet with his feet on the ground and he walked into your church, he'd be turning over the pews, the pulpit, chasing the pastor out, chasing the deacons out, chasing everybody out. Because he said, my house should be a house of prayer, not this foolishness that's going on. You got lottery in the church. Come together and they'll give you a ticket. Take your ticket, take your ticket. I've seen it.
Oh, no bingo?
This is regular worship, supposed to be worship service. And let's call out a number. I-72. Someone says, oh, that's mine. And they give you a laptop. They give you a tablet to win because you came to whatever. And this is supposed to be worship. In the foyer, you can buy all kind of books and stuff. But that's okay because you already broke the law number 4 on the Sabbath. You're doing it on Sunday. You're good on Sunday. Because on Shabbat, you're not supposed to be buying and selling. Right? Because that's our rule. But you don't have rules. Okay, let me calm down. Christianity has no rules. Their rules are come as you are, stay as you are. Our rules are not that. When we find that you're walking against Torah, then we have to say, you have to be excused from the table, please. we can't have sin in the camp. This has been the rule since day one. The rule don't change because you showed up. Doesn't matter what you look like, how much money you have. Don't take bribes. We got special people show up in church and they get front row seat. They get to speak in the pulpit because somebody. They know somebody. It's a mess. It's a hot mess. Read. Back to our text. Jeremiah, 3rd chapter, verse 15.
And I will give you pastors according to my heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. And it shall come to pass when ye be multiplied and increase in the land, and in those days, saith the Lord, they shall say no more. The ark of the covenant of the Lord, neither shall it come to mind, neither shall they remember it, neither shall they visit it, neither shall they be done anymore. And that time they shall call Jerusalem the throne of the Lord, and all the nations shall be gathered unto it, to the name of the Lord, to Jerusalem. Neither shall they walk any more after the imagination of their evil hearts.
Okay. I like this. The imagination of their evil heart. Everybody knows what that is. If you don't know what the imagination of the evil heart is, let me help you out a little bit. Halloween. It's imagination of your evil heart. Christmas is imagination of your evil heart. Thanksgiving. Coming up soon, right? It's the imagination of your evil heart. A time that they want to say, let's sit down at the table and celebrate. Because, after all, that's when we had a wonderful time with the Indians. Do your research. They did know wonderful time with Indians. You go to Hobby Lobby and they got them up in the cash register. Little Indian figurines and little pilgrims, and people are buying that stuff and doing decorations. The imagination of your evil heart. I'm not calling it evil. Y'all is. Christmas is evil. It's the imagination of your evil heart. You put a tree up in your house and you decorate it with gold and silver and you bow down to it when the book says don't do it. Jeremiah chapter 10 says don't go into the woods. Don't cut down the tree. Don't bring it into your house. Don't decorate it with gold. And don't decorate it with silver. And you do it every year. It's evil. Maybe your child will tell you this because you won't listen. It's an evil process. You decorate your house with Santa Claus. Why? And your imagination is evil. It's just evil. He said, I'll give you pastors after my own heart. That means the pastor will lead you to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. That pastor will teach you to keep Shabbat. The pastor will keep you to keep the feast days. All the feast days. That's mandated. Someone, my wife, said to me the other day, I don't think that Christianity or the world knows what the word forever means. Because whenever something said forever, they got rid of it. Isn't that kind of crazy? Huh? It's in the book. I want you to do this forever. Read the book. Read the book. If you don't read the book, okay. I was talking to two people out front. A couple before service started. The one lady said she don't go to church. Never did. The boyfriend says he goes to Catholic church. So I said, have you read any of the book? He says, not really. I listen to the pastor, and I get good feelings when I go there. I go there every Sunday, and we hug up on each other, and we love each other, and I feel peace. This is the imagination of some wicked heart that thinks that because I go into a building and yoga does that.
Yeah, chocolate chip cookies might be that.
Chocolate chip cookies, right? A football game experience can do that. Listen, I used to work for the Eagles, right? As a security guard. And if you go in before the service, did you think I was going to say game? If you go there before the service, you feel the electricity in the air. You're like, whoa, this is strong. By the time the pastor, the coach comes out with the congregation, the team, right? And they start playing, that place is all hyped up. And then they start shouting. They have their hallelujah, their praise the Eagles chant, right? And they turn it up. And if you win, it's glory, hallelujah for a week. Eat and drink and be merry, hallelujah. We're all happy, we're clapping, we're hugging, we're treating everybody. We may even get a day off from work the next day. We all happy and excited over that service. Game. How do you stand there and say you go to church, you go to a place called church, and you never read the book? If you haven't read the book, I don't have much more to say to you. I'm like, if you say you believe it, if you don't believe it, that's cool. Okay, I understand. You just don't believe it. But if you say you believe the book, you're an idiot if you don't read it. I'm feeling something now, right? You can't believe everything you hear. They tell you that on YouTube, right? Don't look at YouTube because you can't believe everything you see. You can't believe everything you hear. You need to study the book. Study to show who? Somebody else approved? Study to show yourself approved. Rightly dividing the word of truth. If you read through the book, I promise you, if you read through the book, you're going to find a problem with worshiping on Sunday. Because over and over it says, keep the Shabbat. Don't profane the Shabbat. You're going to find people ready to kick butt for the Shabbat. You're going to find people that are really angry because you don't keep the Shabbat. You're going to find that Yah says, if you don't do anything else, please just keep the Shabbat. You're going to find all these issues on the Shabbat. You don't even know what the Shabbat is. It's Hebrew for Sabbath. It's Hebrew for Saturday. You can't change it. All right. I want to finish. Where are we at? Verse 18?
Yeah.
We're almost here. 18.
In those days the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north to the land that I have given for an inheritance unto your fathers.
Hallelujah.
We're out of the land of the north. Almost out of the land of North America. So, we're going to close here. But, did you see the change? This has, if you go back to the movies, we started at movies, right? Everybody likes a happy ending, right? The cowboy riding off on the horse at the end of the movie, right? At the end of this scene, where do we stop?
18.
18. Somebody mark that down so next week we're going to pick it up right there, right where we stopped at. All right?
Yeah, 19 is the next verse.
19 is the next one. We're going to pick it right back up. But Do you see the results? Yah says, when you turn back to me, and just check this out. It's not if, it's when. And he's waking up his people, and they're turning back. And we're not looking at this whole make-believe imagination of going to heaven, because that's an imagination again, right? When you die, when we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing. Who wrote that song? We're not going to heaven. Hallelujah. Heaven coming here.
Hallelujah.
He's going to fix this place. He's going to make a new heaven and a new earth. And when Jerusalem comes down and drops down on Africa, on the continent of Africa, right? When it drops down, the book says, right? It drops down. He's going to create a new heaven and a new earth. And guess what? When it drops down, it's going to have 12 gates. And guess who's going to be at the gates? Hebrew Israelites. You don't get in unless you walk through. That's right. You don't get in to the kingdom unless you see us. How do you like that? You don't walk in. You don't climb over a wall. You don't sneak in. Or you just stay on the outside. I'm on the outside looking in. You don't want to be on the outside. That's if you survive. Because after the judgment, some will be done away with. You don't want to be that. You want to be on the inside of the kingdom. Hallelujah.
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 Woo!